The minor basilica of St. Peter in Chains, also known as San Pietro in Vincoli, is located on the Oppian Hill overlooking the Colosseum. As the name indicates, the church holds the relics of the chains that bound the Apostle Peter, both during his imprisonment in Jerusalem, as we read of in chapter 5 of the book of Acts, and also while he was in the Mamertine prison of Rome. In the 5th century, the chains from his imprisonment in Jerusalem were given to the Roman Empress Eudoxia, the wife of Emperor Valentinian III. She donated them to Pope Leo the Great, and also largely financed the church in which they would be kept. Tradition tells us that when Pope Leo held the chains from Jerusalem near those from the Roman prison, they were miraculously fused together, forming the one chain that is venerated today. The church was built around the year 422 to celebrate this miracle. It was constructed over a domus ecclesiae, or a house church, the place where the first Christians would gather within the home of one of the members to celebrate the Mass and sacraments. It was only in the excavations of 1956 to 1960 that this earlier domus ecclesiae was discovered, along with earlier buildings beneath it, dating to the 4th century BC. The church is constructed of a central nave supported by 20 columns taken from other monuments of the city, and tradition holds that some of them are from the courtyard where Peter was condemned to his martyrdom. At the center of the nave, before the main altar, lies a small crypt where the chains of St. Peter are kept in a golden reliquary. The ceiling is decorated with a fresco of the miracle of the uniting of the chains of St. Peter. Through the centuries, many popes have financed various restorations, often embellishing this church with materials that came from other Roman structures, or with the works of famous artists. Perhaps the most notable is the Moses, sculpted by Michelangelo around the year 1515. As we read in the book of Acts, Peter was freed from his chains while imprisoned in Jerusalem by a miracle of God. He was awakened by an angel who led him out of the prison while all the guards slept unaware. This miracle is celebrated yearly in this church on August 1st. This church leads us to contemplate the virtue of trust in the Lord, even in the midst of great difficulties. As Mother Adela Galindo explains, the heart of Jesus always triumphs. We only need to learn to trust in the ways He chooses to realize His triumphs. As Pope Francis said on the Feast of All Saints 2013, today, through this feast, the saints give us a message. They tell us, trust in the Lord, because the Lord does not disappoint. He is a good friend, always at our side. Through their witness, the saints encourage us to not be afraid of going against the tide or of being misunderstood and mocked when we speak about Him and the gospel. By their life, they show us that he who stays faithful to God and to His word experiences the comfort of His love on this earth, and then 100-fold in eternity. Let us meditate on the words from the first letter of St. Peter to the early Christian community. Cast all your worries upon God, because He cares for you. Be sober and vigilant. Your opponent, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, steadfast in faith, knowing that your fellow believers throughout the world undergo the same sufferings. The God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory through Christ Jesus, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you after you have suffered a little.